But ultimately, it's a matter of right and wrong.
For years, Cuba's ally Venezuela provided the small island nation with nearly half of its oil. With the arrest and U.S. indictment of former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and with pressure from the U.S., oil shipments to Cuba have now stopped.
There will be no more oil or money going to Cuba, zero, says Donald Trump.
I'm getting text messages from my friends saying, don't fight with Camila Cabello, because I tweeted gross when I saw this. Camila Cabello raises awareness for the living conditions in Cuba. It has been 67 years of a failing dictatorship and an oppressive regime. The Cuban people are suffering in an echo chamber where no one can hear them because to speak is to risk your life. Many people are starving, looking for food in trash heaps. And then the only way to survive is having relatives ship you boxes of medicine because not even the hospitals have medicine. Yeah, that's the reason why the Cuban population is starving. What a spectacularly awful, what an insane statement, dude. I can't stand people that say stuff like this when it's like very clearly defending America's unimaginable and unyielding cruelty. She was in Fifth Harmony and got exposed for being racist towards her co-member, a black woman, Normani. She was also found to have said the N-word and had to go on an apology tour, so this adds up for her. I mean, I don't know anything about her. But this is like, when I read something like that, when I read a press briefing from Marco Rubio coming out of Camila Cabello's Instagram account, I'm like, the f*** is this shit? Hashtag SOS Cuba. Anyway, I got banned for saying that Cuban Americans will not care at all as they see Cuba be rotted by the USA. They're all brain rotted to the max. I just don't get it. I truly do not understand how you can have immediate relatives still living on the island and the country that you now reside in is like directly starving them. And you're like, yeah, it's because of the communism dictatorship. Like, what the dude? What the It is nastiness. It's a nasty business, dude. I don't understand how you get that level of brainwashing. Like, you can tell me all day, every day, like, oh, well, it's the communists. It's the communist stupid. You don't understand. You will never get me to agree to borrow the Camilla stands are going to come for you. I don't give a shit. They can call me racist all day, every day. I'm going to Cuba. So also, speaking of Cuba, I will be talking to Belly of the Beast today. A reporter from Belly of the Beast today that is directly tuning in from Havana to talk about the conditions there. The Cuban lobby made them right-wing. Please, not enough people talk about it. Yeah, the Cuban lobby is nutty. We will be talking about that as well. Unfortunately, that chatter is correct. My brain-broken Cuban conservative grandparents now live in North Carolina have told me nothing but lies about Castro and the revolution growing up. Yeah. It's similar to the brainwashing that happens in the Jewish American community related to Israel. Cuban Americans have been brainwashed by Cuba for decades. Yes. I will say this, though. If we can put, can you explain why you hate or take? What parts you take offense to? What do you mean? All the parts. There is one primary driver of pain and torment for the Cubans that live in Cuba, and that is the United States of America. Anyone that takes the responsibility away from the completely unjust, completely inhumane blockade that has been implemented for decades, for 67 years.
On Wednesday, the United Nations General Assembly voted to condemn the U.S. embargo on Cuba for the 33rd consecutive year, with 165 countries voting in favor of a non-binding resolution calling on the U.S. to lift the embargo, while 7 nations that the U.S. reportedly pressured voted against it.
And says that, like, the real reason why it's a failure is because of communism, is because of the regime, it's because of the dictatorship, is a delusional monster. And the only way, it's victim blaming through and through, but the only way that you can have that thought is if you live in the bosom of luxury in the United States of America and you've actually never experienced any of the downsides of being in the crosshairs of the United States of America. And therefore, you have no capacity to understand what it's like when America decides that you're a foreign adversary. We're starving Cuba and then acting as though, and then there's people that are saying, like, while we are starving Cuba, our government is directly starving Cuba, there are still people who will say, oh, it's the regime, it's the communism, it's the dictatorship. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here. Any country that is in the periphery that thrives against all odds. There's so much going on here at home and so much I can say about the heartbreaking things in the immigrant community is experiencing here in the U.S. I also feel a personal responsibility to speak about what's happening in Cuba. I still have family on the island that we speak to and send medicine, food, and clothes to. It's been 67 years of a failing dictatorship and an oppressive regime. The Cuban people are suffering in an echo chamber where no one can hear them because to speak is the risk of your life. Many people are starving, looking for food in trash heaps, and the only way to survive is having relatives ship you boxes of medicine because not even the hospitals have medicine. I wonder why the hospitals don't have medicine in Cuba. It must be because of the communism. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you know how stupid that statement is? We are literally starving them. The entire planet that is terrified of coming out against the United States of America has said time and time again over the past 67 years, please end the blockade. This is completely unjustifiable. Please release the Cuban population, free them, allow them to exist normally, allow them to engage in commerce, allow them to actually grow their country. And America has said, no. Time and time again, people have voted for the blockade to end. And America has decided that, no, we will not do that. We will not allow that to happen. Yeah, exactly. It's unacceptable. The power is gone for so long that food spoils and water becomes scarce. When people have peacefully protested, they've been disappeared or put behind bars, some as young as 13 years old. This is the reality where a post online costs you your life. The Cuban people have lived without dignity and hope for so long. It's no wonder so many Cubans have thrown themselves in the shark-infested waters, making boats out of tires and sticks and risking their lives for freedom. They are now in the midst of a profound humanitarian crisis. I wonder why. I guess they just hit the communism button too hard recently. Is that what happened? They were like, we're going to do even more communism because communism means starvation. You are medically stupid if this is your take. It's disgusting. It's extra disgusting when you're parroting this imperialist propaganda at a time of crisis when your family members are directly being starved by the American government. Wake the up, dude. Jesus Christ. And this has not even anything to do, for the record, this doesn't have anything to do with like ideological commitments to communism or anything. This is just like, this is not dissimilar to what's going on in Gaza in many respects. There's an ideological slant associated with it from why the American government justifies this kind of brutality and gets away with it in some respects. But ultimately, it's a matter of right and wrong. Is it appropriate to genocide and starve and siege the Gazan population, the Palestinians? No, it's not. Right? Same question can be directed at the United States of America. Is it appropriate and right for the American government to offer offer siege warfare to the Cuban population for almost 7 decades at this point? No, it's not. It's ridiculous. You guys are hating on her for helping. It's insane. Helping what? Where does she take that away from the blockade? Are you stupid? I mean, yes, you are. I'm sorry. You're a stupid stan if you literally look to that statement and assume that it's not directly claiming that the government is responsible for the American blockade. It's victim blaming. What the are you talking about? It's 100% victim blaming. Get the out of here. She's like, as a Cuban, I'm telling you, it's not the American blockade. It's the Cuban government. At a time when the American government is like added on additional cruelty, additional cruel measures. Her music isn't even good enough for you to be out here defending her, chatter. I mean, I don't really care, but I don't really care about her music. Ain't this the pop star that was super racist on Tumblr? I don't care about any of that shit. This is, to me, individual acts of racism pales in comparison to looking at a situation where the American government has openly declared complete warfare, siege warfare upon the entire Cuban population and saying, yeah, actually, it's the government. Like aligning with the government that's doing that to your relatives is infinitely fucking worse. Straight up. This is where awareness matters the most. She's from Mexico. Okay, regardless, she has Cuban family members. Yeah. I work in affordable housing. I grew up loving Castro because of how I saw how we were treated. I am a Politico, even did the USA tour. Please talk about Israel also being a part of the groups enabling the blockade. Yes, exactly. It's more insane when you consider the fact that mainstream media isn't even trying to manufacture consent for this one. They're just like barely talking about it. Meanwhile, a humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Cuba because of Trump's blockade. U.S. strangulation of Cuba is so severe, U.S. media isn't even bothering to act like U.S. sanctions are incidental to the suffering of the people like they did for years with Iran, Venezuela, previous Cuba reporting. It's a post-liberal order where humanitarian pretenses don't matter much. The president is openly and proudly starving multiple countries' populations at once, and the only pushback is a handful of progressives in Congress releasing statements, and that's basically it. Open sadism basically cracks the top 10 news items. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. It is pretty wild to see the New York Times write, not with like a neutral tone, but with like direct language saying, a new U.S. blockade is strangling Cuba. That's pretty nuts. There has been a very strict embargo on the entire island for almost 70 years at this point. And now that embargo has taken on a new life where it is even more severe than before, where all of the additional trade partners that were offering oil to the island can no longer do so. Mexico had to stop sending oil. Venezuela is no longer a sovereign nation, right? Venezuela is no longer sending oil. The only country that has actually said we'll pick up the slack here is Russia. And who knows? Who knows if that's going to be real? I mean, they're very far away. And the American government has already seized Russian oil tankers in the past. But now that the SCOTUS has now that the SCOTUS has cast aside Donald Trump's tariffs threats, maybe Mexico can pick up the slack again. Who knows?